Earlier, we spoke with Eric Trump and his wife, Laura, in the spin room. Take a look at this. All right, joining us now, Eric and Laura Trump. Well, the lunch group had him winning. I'm betting the Trump team has him winning, too.
I definitely had him winning. Honestly, I'm so proud of him. I was kind of that giddy son and, in the second row looking over at him, but I was so proud of him. I mean, look at what he's accomplished in the last 18 months. Here's a businessman, incredibly successful, decides he wants to do something great for his country so he can take our country back from, crooked politicians who have been running into the ground. He won the Republican nomination against 17 highly skilled people. Now, all of a sudden, we were on the third debate, for the presidential election. The polls are going well. Everything's doing great. And, here we are. It's just kind of hard to believe that we're...
I remember, what I one time said to you that I was saying, the art of politics is a little different than the art of the deal.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm 6'1". He's really big. I'm just telling my TV crew at home. But, the thing that stuck out, and I've been asking everybody, and of course I want your opinion too, Laura, is there's such profound differences here. The Supreme Court, ISIS, saying radical Islam, vetting refugees, immigration, health care, Obamacare, securing the borders, taxes, education, energy.
Well, it pops out to me, too. Every single time he says, where have you been over the last 30 years? Hillary Clinton's been a politician, I say this all the time, longer than I've been alive. Right? Where have you...
You're not 30?
Where has she been the entire time?
How old are you?
I'm 33, all right? She's at least very close. Where has she been? Look at the problems. We have a massive problem with ISIS. We've spent $6 trillion in the Middle East. We've lost thousands of lives. Our VA is a wreck. We've got huge national deficits. We've got $20 trillion worth of debt. It's gone up $11 trillion. Where has she been? She didn't bring a single job to upstate New York. Not a single job. She promised 200,000 new jobs to upstate New York. She didn't create one while being a senator in New York State. And then she goes out tonight and she promises 10 million new jobs. Give me a break. Yeah. She promises she won't add another dollar to the national deficit. Yet Obama brought it up by 11 trillion.
He accumulated more debt than every other president before him combined. All right, general thoughts, Laura.
Well, you're talking about the profound differences between these two people. And to me, it's very obvious. Donald Trump speaks on behalf of the people. This is the people's president. This is a man who saw a problem with our country and wanted to fix it. And then you see Hillary Clinton, who is speaking on behalf of donors, special interest group,
Wall Street.
Yeah. And so I think you felt that tonight. And I think the American people are going to be so proud to cast their vote for Donald.
How hard is it for both of you when she goes out with her memorized, pre-programmed attacks? Does that bother you?
Well, I think for so many people, we read through it. You can tell how scripted she is. And so we don't buy it. And it doesn't bother me at all, because I think the reason that Donald Trump did so well, especially in the beginning, is because he talks like all of us and he says what we're all thinking, and he doesn't need to memorize lines. He speaks from the heart. He speaks from his gut.
One of the things you or Don Jr., your brother, told me early on was he's a blue-collar billionaire. He really does. He has connected with those 95 million Americans, to give the exact number, that are out of the labor force since Obama's been president. 13 million more Americans on food stamps, 8 million more in poverty. You mentioned we doubled the debt. Why is he connecting so well with it?
Well, listen, this isn't a campaign. I've always said this is not a campaign. It's a movement. And he has created a movement. Everywhere he goes, he has 25, 30,000 people show up. People want this country back. They've been left behind. The people in this country no longer have a voice. If you don't have a beautiful marble office on Pennsylvania Avenue in Washington, D.C., you don't have a voice. You've been totally left behind. Hillary was talking about the Supreme Court tonight, and she was talking about how she'd like justices that take dirty money out of politics. Yet she'll raise $1 billion, $1.5 billion, all of which...
How much did Saudi Arabia give her? How much did she get from Wall Street?
It's incredible. And people are also sick of politicians who think they're above the law. And you see the Ponzi scheme that's the Clinton Foundation. You see the email controversy. You see her lying to the Department of Justice. You see her lying to the FBI. You see her lying to Congress. You see her lying to the...
Your father didn't hold back tonight. He laid it out.
And I'm glad he did. I'm glad he did, because you know what? The mainstream media, Sean, they haven't. And so he has to bring that case to her, and that's very, very sad. But the American people read through it.
Let me ask you both this question. We now have learned through WikiLeaks, Univision, NBC, CNBC, MSNBC, CNN, ABC, CBS, all these major networks, New York Times, Boston Globe, and I'm sure I'm missing a number, clearly in the tank for Hillary. Clearly there's collusion. What is your reaction to that?
That's nothing that we didn't know already. You just have to turn on the TV to see it. And I think it just confirms what all along we have all suspected, that the media has been helping Hillary Clinton since the beginning of her campaign. They've been helping her for the last 30 years, quite frankly. And without the media, I think that we would see much different numbers out there. And I don't even believe the numbers I see, because when Eric and I travel around this country, the movement, as he said, that has started behind Donald Trump is incredible. thousands and thousands of people filling stadiums have to mean something. And I just can't wait to see the result on November 8th, because I think he's going to win in a very big way.
Last word.
Listen, with very few exceptions, this whole cycle, the media's gotten it wrong. And the media, with, again, few exceptions, doesn't have the pulse of the American people.
I think I'm like the only exception.
Honestly, I'd say you're one of the very few exceptions.
Fox and Friends, too. They're over there. Yeah.
Every one of these political pundits said he was never going to get through the primaries. He's never going to beat any of the people up there. And he got through the primaries, and he beat them, and he beat them easily. They never said he was going to be here, and he's here. They never thought he'd have the poll numbers. And by the way, he's taken on the whole world. He's taken on that mainstream media. He's taken on maybe the greatest political machine in the history.
Republicans and Democrats.
He's taken on his own party. You're 100% right. He's taken on special interests like you wouldn't believe. Again, a money machine, unlimited resources. He's taken it on. And look at where we are today. You know, after 3 debates, he's won. You know, I think he's won all 3. He's definitely won.
Franklin's had him winning 2.
And
2 of the 3, the last 2.
And Sean, I think we're going to win on November 8th. I really do. I think we're in an unbelievable position. I've said it all along. We're going to win this thing. I think we're going to win on November 8th.
Do you want him to run one day?
Oh my gosh, we're all going to need a long cooling off period from politics.
You might have 8 years in Washington.
Well, we'll take a breather.